All right, everybody, welcome back to the Beans No Ball podcast. I'm David, that's Christian. Let's get episode 4 started right here.
So in today's episode, we will be going over the Week 2 recap and the Week 3 preview.
That's right. So without any interruption, none of that, let's get it started right away with our Thursday nighter, which was a great game. Let's just start talking about it. Christian, go ahead.
Yeah, man, that game was really good to see, I low-key thought, when I saw Chargers take a lead, I was like, damn, no way, Chargers might actually win. But, Mahomes doing Mahomes does best and coming back and rallying the Chiefs to take that dub. It was a very good game, I'm not going to lie. I low-key expected it to be a very high-scoring game. But, obviously the defense showed out at the end, and it was just a really well game by Patrick Mahomes. Justin Herbert, threw for 334 yards, 3 touchdowns. Mike Williams finally having one of those random good games out of nowhere. I know you're upset since you benched him. I don't know how you must have felt.
I mean, he was only targeted like twice against the Raiders last week, so I was thinking maybe he's not part of the picture. Let me leave him down, but I guess not. They proved me wrong there, so might have to put him back in the lineup soon. And I mean, the main thing here, the biggest takeaway is Justin Herbert. Like, what's gonna happen there right now? He's day to day with that rib injury. If he has to miss some time, this could be a big hit to the Chargers. I mean, their backup is Chase Daniel, which, he's a respectable. He's just a career journeyman backup, and
he's just isn't that guy to carry the team on his back when you really need it.
It's just if Herbert can come back, then I don't see any issue with the Chargers, but that's what could happen. We'll see.
Yeah, man. Herbert, he did do well. I didn't think
played great. Yeah,
he did well. I didn't think his rib injury played effect in that game. Maybe towards the end, because that pick six he threw, that 9-yard pick six. That was indeed a big turnaround in the game. Really gave the Chiefs momentum.
But you see that it was Gerald Everett who.
Yeah, it was Gerald Everett.
He just seemed sluggish on that play. I don't know.
He seemed really sloppy.
Because the play before, he wanted to come off, I think, and then they just told him.
Yeah, and they just left him in there,
and right away. He probably could have made an effort, made a move to get back on the ball, but still, Herbert was he was trying to force it there. He should have either tucked it or thrown it away. Honestly, in a goal situation there.
Should have waited just a little longer, and that was the big turnaround in the game. Gave the Chiefs momentum, and they walked away with that W.
Yeah. So let's move on to our Sunday games. Let's start off with the Jets against the Browns, which this one, both of us, we both took the Browns thinking they were just going to roll over them, get 2-0 on the year, and
very upset.
And it was looking like it. So for the most part, they were up 2 scores with about 1:30 left, and just in the end, Joe Flacco just a great couple drives to really just drive them down there. They got that onside kick that Amari Cooper could have picked up, but he just missed it. And
I don't know who that is.
In the end, a great game by the Jets, and they're showing. Jacoby Brissett may struggle a bit in Deshaun Watson's absence.
Yeah, man. The Browns. I don't know what happened with the Browns. I was looking at the scores. I'm like, Browns could probably win this, against the Jets, and typical Jets losing games, but Joe Flacco really, really surprised me in that game. 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. It was a very, very surprising game, knowing that Joe Flacco is way, way past his prime. And even Garrett Wilson, he played phenomenal. 100 yards for 2 touchdowns. His last touchdown being the game winner. And, that was very surprising to me. No way the Browns choked this lead. And, when Nick Chubb did go for that big run, he could have kneeled it on the one to possibly secure the win, because I don't think the Jets had timeouts.
Right? Yeah, they were down to no timeouts at that point.
Yeah, they had no timeouts. I don't think he was thinking, but it really wasn't. I wouldn't say it was his fault. That was more the special teams and defense's fault for being really, really sloppy and not trying in the last couple of minutes. Because man, that defense did not play well at all. It made Joe Flacco look good again, and that's very, very rare. But yeah, it was just very, very horrible game with the Browns, and very, very good heart by the Jets.
Yeah.
Moving on to our next game, the Commanders at Washington. Now this game stunned me because I went for the Commanders, and that's very rare. Carson Wentz, he had a good game too. just shy of 350 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did very, very well. But, the Lions showed their true pride and heart and took this W. I thought they were going to choke. Don't ever, I thought they were going to choke again because Washington was coming back. But, Jared Goff stayed strong. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Let's talk about him real quick, man. 116 yards for 2 touchdowns. He's had 2 good back-to-back games, USC receiver, very well. I love my USC boys.
All the best receivers come out of USC, Pittman. Drake
Jr.
London, even though he did against my Rams, great receiver there too.
Yeah, he's looking very well. Detroit's got a bright future. It really stunned me. I'm not gonna lie, but it's good for me because NFC East, and I need those Commanders to go down. But yeah, this was a very good game by the Lions. They had
and for me, obviously, I took the Lions in this game because I thought the Commanders were gonna fall on here. So
you're right.
To me, I don't see the Lions as a pushover by any means. I don't think, obviously, I won't see them making the playoffs, but I see them as, this is probably better for them, but as like a mediocrity type team. They're just, in the middle, and they could give teams struggle. Down the line this year, I see them maybe playing spoiler for a lot of teams. They could hurt the Packers' playoff chances. It's somewhere in there, but they might. That just to me.
I would consider the Lions a sleeper team. I consider them my first sleeper team so far. Because man, bright future ahead. Dan Campbell finally putting on those batteries, doing something. Jared Goff's looking fine. But until we see how well they perform against good teams, then that will decide. But as of right now, they're doing okay. Only time will tell.
Yeah. So moving on to one of the big games we always expect, the Buccaneers and the Saints. Nice big rivalry down there, and both teams were struggling at the start. It was 3-3 into the third quarter, just no offense whatsoever. Then in the end, the Buccaneers just started to turn it up, and sure, the Saints got a touchdown in the fourth quarter, but it was too little too late. And Brady finally got to the Saints in the regular season, which that's what I was expecting. So, both of us, we did take the Bucs.
We did take the Bucs. This is probably the game where Brady was not going to lose. Kind of had that hope. But as soon as I started that it was Saints were up 3-0 halftime, I'm like, what's going on? This is like a very defensive battle back-to-back. Brady was heated on the sidelines, but, as soon as we got to the fourth quarter, I don't know what happened. They just came back. Jameis Winston doing Jameis Winston things. I think he did 3 picks, right?
I did not really pay attention to this game, but it shows.
3, but yeah, it really showed, man. I low-key thought Jameis Winston could possibly lead him back because when Chris Olave was wide open, but then he fumbled. That could possibly been the turnaround. I wouldn't say specifically because what it would take to get the touchdown, to get the onside. You never know, but I wouldn't say necessarily Chris Olave sold. I would just say in general that Saints offense was just not looking well. Their defense was doing phenomenally first half. Second half, they went to crumbles, and it just really did not pay off at the end.
Yeah, and then just the other little storyline in this game, Mike Evans, man. The beef with Marshawn Lattimore came right back. You seen what he did in 2017 trying to fight him, and this year he came at him again defending Tom Brady, and he's gonna get hit with a 1-game suspension next week. So we'll see how that affects him in a really big game against the Packers.
It's not a Bucs and Saints game without Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore getting at it.
Absolutely.
That's my cup of tea right there. That's my cup of tea. I would consider very, very well. So moving on to the next game, the Panthers and the Giants. This one was another shocker. Me. I really
this was a slow game from the start.
It was a very, very boring and slow game. 6-6 at halftime. Very, very boring. It was
sloppy too.
It was sloppy.
Go from that. The Giants got two turnovers. I think Baker fumbled one, and there was a muff punt or kickoff. I remember around the start, and all the Giants could do was get some field goals. they were playing ugly in the red zone, and then slowly Baker willed them back. But it was kind of just both of them didn't even know.
Very, very bad.
They knew what they were doing in the middle of this.
Yeah, it was still neck to neck in the third quarter, 13-13. Giants just getting those 2 more field goals to help them up. I'm pretty sure it was those 2 more field goals, right? I don't have vivid memory of that just because of how astonished I was, that the Giants are up. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And we I don't like that.
I mean, for you, the games they played, I mean, it's against a really weak Titans team. It's a very weak Titans team, and then you got a Panthers team who they're really still looking for themselves.
Yeah, I really bummed for Baker, man. I really wanted Baker to do well. I still have my soft spot for
Baker. The Panthers here, thinking. I mean, like I had said last week, I thought he was gonna really get his footing here, but just nothing going for them.
It makes me very bad, but hey, at least Christian McCaffrey looks good, you know.
Yeah, and you always love to see that.
They look very well. At least McCaffrey is somewhat there, but you know, that Panthers, man, they still got a lot to do. Matt Rule is not it. He's not in a head coach.
And he's probably on his way out after this year, if we're being honest.
I wouldn't doubt if he's the first coach fired.
So let's move right along. We got the Patriots at the Steelers. And
this was another big
we both got this one wrong. We really thought, you know, Trubisky would keep it rolling, but in the end, the Patriots look really strong. I mean, Mac Jones had a pretty solid game. With I mean, you only threw a touchdown, but 252 yards. That's
not bad.
You know, about an average game, but it was enough to get the W. And I mean, that's all that matters in this league.
Yeah, even too with the Patriots, you know, Nelson Aguilar, he looked very well. 6 receptions for 110 yards and a touchdown. Very, very weird since Nelson Aguilar hasn't been like popular since like the Eagles won the Super Bowl. It was very, very weird. But as soon as when Nelson Aguilar went for that touchdown, I'm like, is that Nelson Aguilar? I was very, very confused, you know. But you know, he had a great game. You know,
I know it was on the Patriots, honestly.
Yeah, I honestly forgot he was on. Really, really well. Really forgot. But you know, Mac Jones put the team on his back, you know, except that interception. I'm pretty sure, that interception in the first half that low-key was very, very bad. But, you know, it was more of a defensive battle towards the end of the game. But Patriots stayed strong. And that Patriots defense, you know, aside from the Dolphin game, it looked very, very well, you know. But still, it was the Steelers, maybe a fluke game. Who knows? But the Patriots look very well. The Steelers.
That's your Super Bowl pick. You would hope so, right?
I would hope. I regretted it last week, but I don't know. Still sticking with it. But
I'm still gonna have to stay away from that. But let's move right back along. And this was just I mean, this is a pretty big shocker, but at the same time, it's just showing the disappointment in Indy. It's the Colts against the Jaguars. Shut out 24-0.
This was horrible. Not just for the Colts, but for Matty Ice. This is disgusting, man. He sold me in fantasy. I was like, God.
That was just an awful game. I'm just
horrible game.
See how it is. This just really shows you. I mean, the Colts. I mean, I think they were both of our picks to win the South. That's gonna go right away. I mean, this is easily the weakest division in football, and
there he is.
Honestly, even the Jaguars have a chance to win it. It's wide open that everyone's just gonna see whoever wins the most games. I mean, it could probably be an 8-8 team.
New NFC East, because right now the NFC East is looking like it used to back then. Very, very competitive. This is probably the division so far, other than maybe the NFC North, but no matter. But yeah, the AFC is not looking well. The Jaguars could possibly. I'm pretty sure they're first in the division now.
Honestly,
yeah, they are. Wait, are they? Yeah, they are.
I think they're. Yeah, they are. 1-1.
Yeah, they are. And the Texans are too.
I think they're the only teams. They're the only team in the division with a win. So yeah. I mean, honestly, realistically, I mean, I think the Titans might.
Titans are probably gonna sneak their way into that one.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a 4 seed, and they're gonna get
gonna
get cooked by whoever gets second in the AFC West.
They're gonna get hornswoggled by the Chiefs. I'm just saying. But yeah. All right, moving on to the next game. Now, this was a very, very good game. Dolphins coming back. Yeah. This was the game of the week. I'm not gonna lie. Dolphins coming back, winning 42-38 against the Ravens. This is a horrible, horrible choke by Lamar Jackson. I don't know how much hate he would have gotten or how much he did. It was very, very horrible. Tua. Whoever had Tua on his fantasy and Tyreek and Waddle, you guys are blessed. Tua. Almost 500 yards, 6 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, 10 yards shy of 200 with 2 touchdowns. Waddle hitting 100 as well. This was a very, very strong game at the end by the Miami Dolphins. They have a really, really bright future right now. Tua looks very, very well. I never shit on Tua. I never hated Tua. But to everyone who's finally apologizing to Tua, I'm very disappointed in them. I knew Tua would be good. I knew
I'm
that.
happy to see him succeed.
very
Since
happy that
seeing him at Alabama, I mean, I'm a big college football guy. I enjoy seeing him. I mean, I don't like Alabama, obviously, who does? But I mean, he's just a really likable guy, and obviously he's had struggles here and there. But like, I mean, man, 469 yards, 6 touchdowns this week. Just really putting the team on his back. Obviously, with a lot of help from Tyreek, but I mean, this was a really nice showing out against a really good Ravens team who. Their defense just faltered, obviously, but they usually have a really strong defense year in and year out.
Well, Marcus Peters, though, like, getting burnt as usual. But, like, what else do you expect?
A lot about that as a Rams fan.
And down 3 touchdowns, and Tua led the comeback. I'm very, very happy for Tua. Dolphins have a very, very exciting season ahead of them. They could possibly compete with the Patriots and the Bills. So, who knows? It
could be easy to compete with the Patriots. It's gonna be with the Bills, man.
I don't know, man. I'll keep credit saying the Bills weren't gonna make playoffs. I don't know why I said that, but I don't know. Dolphins could probably sneak their way in 5th seed, maybe, but who knows?
Yeah, so let's move right along. This is my game of the week. I'm not of the week, but my game. We got the Falcons at the Rams. It started out great for us. I mean, Cooper Kupp got his touchdown.
2 touchdowns, actually.
Who got our second? I want to say, I don't think it was Higbee, but there we go. Robinson got a really nice touchdown. Matthew Stafford finally getting him the ball, which that's something I really like to see. But I mean, and we built that 28-3, that infamous 28-3 lead, and all of a sudden everything just starts going wrong for the Rams. We get once they're somewhat back in the game, you get a block punt to make it a 1-score game.
Yeah, that was very, very, like, I saw that, like, God, there's no way the Falcons could beat the Rams right now. That would be very, very disappointing.
I mean, it was just it was stressful to watch. Just sitting here. I mean, like come on, like, I mean, obviously Atlanta is like a somewhat decent team, you would think, but it's like, I mean, it was really hard to see. I mean, especially just being the Falcons, they're usually known as the chokers, and to really like exercise those demons and kind of like bring it out against my Rams, no less. It was scary until finally, I mean, they were driving, they were probably going to take the lead, and it came down to a big Jalen Ramsey interception, who had a horrible week last week and a really subpar game. He already dropped an interception in this game, and he really redeemed himself. He saved the game for us easily, and he's hopefully getting that reputation back, and hopefully this is a sign of better things to come for Jalen. And I mean, it was a little rocky, but a win's a win, and I'll take that. We're 1-1 now.
Yeah, it was a very sloppy win. Matthew Stafford started off well, and then 2 picks. Like I said before, like the other week, Matt Stafford's got to work on those picks, man. Those picks are gonna kill him. He's a pick. Who's that one other quarterback? Jameis, there you go.
Lawrence. Him and Lawrence were retired last year.
And he's just got to work on those picks, man, because, man, if those picks, like, he just got to stop, because it really might affect him. And Stafford's known for throwing picks, too, but,
I mean, I'm pretty sure he leads the league this year, right? He's got, like, 5 picks, so easily he leads the league right now.
Yeah, because, like, man, it was very, very disappointing. And, Loki thought they were going to lose. Loki thought Rams were going to lose. Even my dad was getting all hyped, but I told him, it's not over. But yeah, very sloppy win. Very, very sloppy. So, to the next game. This one, not so much of a shocker. Seahawks at Niners. Trey Lance went down with an ankle injury. His season is done. Really wasn't going to look well for the Niners the way he played against Chicago. But, Jimmy G came back in to let him to a 27-7 dub. Jimmy G didn't look bad. I think he's proving the haters wrong that he is that guy for the Niners. And 27-7 won. Wilson Jr. had a very, very good game, 84 yards. He looked very well on running back. I'm not going to lie. I think they should utilize him more than Debo. Get Debo more snaps at receiver, since he was saying that, before the season started, that he wanted to be more of a receiver. But, yeah, this was another game at the Seahawks. Geno Smith being Geno Smith again. I thought Geno Smith was going to do well again, but...
You had taken the Seahawks.
I took the Seahawks, man, but Tyler Lockett...
I knew, in my heart that Trey Lance was going to struggle, and as bad as it sounds, this injury is honestly going to help the 49ers a bit. I think they made the wrong call getting in their mind getting rid of Jimmy Garoppolo and wanting to get him out of there. But look, this pushes them right back into that situation. Obviously, the whole team, the whole locker room, they're behind him. They'd rather have Jimmy G aside from Trey Lance, and this is an ugly blessing, but it's somewhat of a little blessing for the Niners. That now I do think this is going to be a challenge to them too, for them and the Rams for the NFC West.
Yeah, it's also going to possibly prove Kyle Shanahan and the front office's decision making, man. If Jimmy G ends up leading the Niners to very good wins, possibly at least next 5 wins, then it's really going to prove around how bad of decision making they are sticking with Trey Lance. Because if Jimmy G can possibly pull it off, it's going to be a really wide opener for them. Because, man, if they were to stick with Trey Lance, their season probably would have been done by week 5. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up that game. Seahawks probably going to struggle once again.
Yeah. Now let's move right along to your game this week, Christian. We got the Cowboys finally coming out on top.
Yeah, so then we started off really, really well in the first quarter. Back-to-back drives, touchdowns. Cooper Rush leading that offense, didn't surprise me at all. Cooper Rush, he knows this offense way more. I heard a lot of people, even my own dad, saying, I'd rather have Will Grier. I love Will Grier, but he just doesn't know the system yet. He really doesn't know the playbook well. Cooper Rush has been with us for a while. I think 2017, I believe so, maybe more.
Off on practice squad, waivers, but yeah, he knows the team.
He proved himself to be a really competent backup quarterback. Noah Brown, this was another very, very, very exciting day for me as well for Noah Brown. 5 catches for 91 yards and a touchdown. I've always loved Noah Brown since we drafted him in 2017, man. This game being having his first touchdown, he was getting so much shit. He can't catch, he can't run routes, but man, Noah Brown really stepped up knowing that he deserves that roster spot. And really, really made me proud. We're finally, Noah Brown's finally getting to shine very well, getting the run game open very, very early. I'm still mad how we're not using Zeke that much, even though it is showing Pollard is better. He's more elusive, he's quicker, especially that one play in the beginning of the game. Very, very well. I just want Zeke. Zeke looks very well. I just want him to be utilized more. Kellen Moore too. I really need to stop with this trickery stuff. I just want a simple run. It's not obviously up the middle with Zeke most of the time, Also nice power plays, maybe more of that stuff. Not too fancy, at least get Zeke going, get the run game going. I thought we were going to choke at the end because for some reason, Bengals always have the thing of trying to bring hope back in the second half and then just lose out of nowhere. Brett Maher was playing with my emotions right there. Even the whole team, but, that field goal yelled to the top of my lungs. Very exciting win. We have the Giants next week. We'll talk about that another time. But, the NFC East, it's going to be a very hard division now. But the Bengals 0-2, not looking so well. That Super Bowl hangover.
It just goes back to, what we've been talking about Burrow. Without an O-line, it's just going to be a real struggle. It's going to be a long season for them. It's not the best way to put it, but look at the guys that have beaten the Bengals so far. Just Trubisky, who's just iffy. He's probably not set in that Steelers
not yet.
Role. And then obviously Cooper Rush. Of course, he is a backup.
Best quarterback in the league.
And just Burrow almost brought him back, which is good, but it's it's not looking good for the Bengals so far. And they got Zach Taylor and the rest of that coaching staff got to figure something out soon.
They do, because in the next game is really going to decide what's going to go on. Because as of right now, most likely it's a battle between the Ravens and the Steelers at this point. That's really who's going to take the division. If Bengals don't figure something out, I want to say before week 6, season's probably done. Joe Burrow's probably going to be Andrew Luck. That mental health is going to be really, really bad from that O-line. Micah Parsons becoming the father of Lalo Collins. Woo, made me happy. Trayvon Diggs finally getting the respect he deserves. Even though he only lined up against Jamar 4 snaps, only allowing 6 yards, but that doesn't matter. Jamar had 50 yards that whole game, getting locked up by Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis. So I don't want to hear nothing. Trayvon Diggs finally getting the respect he deserves. People still shitting on him. They don't know nothing. finally going from his ball hawking skills to finally playing more aggressive on defending. Really like this. This defense is doing really well. Cooper Rush can still be how he played, and if you get the offense going very, very early, we could possibly go. I want to say maybe 4-1. Depending how the next 2 games go, since they are division games. And so that comes back, but I do have hope now, even though I had my doubts in the beginning.
Yeah.
So moving on.
Right along, we got the Texans at the Broncos, which this was honestly a really underwhelming game, obviously.
That was horrible.
It's just the Broncos still, they just can't pick it up at all. We both took the Broncos thinking they were going to look a little better, but 219 yards, 1 touchdown for Wilson. That's about average, but
Cortland Sutton
touchdown. You pay him $250 million to have to make an impact, and against the Texans now, and on a Seahawks team that really isn't that good, you see the real impact Wilson's making, and it's looking like they're probably going to struggle.
Yeah, man, Wilson's not looking well. I feel like he's past his prime now. After his days with Seattle. Not looking too well for the Broncos. It was very, very sloppy. Every time they kept showing the scores, I'm like, it's still 3-3. And then it's 6-6. And then it's like, I don't know what's going on. And then I'm like, damn, Broncos won that. It was a very sloppy game with the Broncos. Nothing else much to say other than, Cortland Sutton did well too. 122 yards, 7 catches. Jamal Williams looked very well as well. If Russell Wilson doesn't get anything going early with these Broncos, it's going to be a long season for them, because I had high hopes that the Russell Wilson would bring these Broncos back, but from the looks of it, being 3-3 for a while, it just does not look well for the Broncos, and it could be a very, very long season for them as well. So moving on, another exciting thriller, big choke again. Cardinals at the Raiders. The Raiders were up 20. They're up 20-0, I believe, right?
They were up 20-0.
They were up 20-0 at halftime.
The struggles from that whole team. The defense just they just gave out.
They gave out. Really, Kyler. I think at the last play where Kyler had so much time in the pocket scrambling, was that during
20 seconds? He ran all the way back to the 20, scrambled all the way back into the end zone.
Was that for the conversion or was that for the
2-point conversion? Yeah.
The 2-point. Yeah, they're like, no way. That D line was just like, what was going on? There's no way they let Kyler Murray that much time.
Not only that, but even for the next 2-point conversion, after a penalty, they were pushed all the way back to the 7, and he just shot it into AJ Green, which it was they had to go into review to see if it touched the ground, but it was ruled a catch, and that sent it into overtime. Yeah,
the living fossil, AJ Green, out of all people, man.
Then apart from that, you go back to Hunter Renfrow, man. Those 2 last plays in overtime. That was fumbles twice.
Byron Murphy, man, just did right place at the right time. Cardinals take the dub.
Almost threw it away a little too early, but he crossed.
I thought he was gonna pull a Deshaun Jackson. I really
looked like a Deshaun Jackson play.
But when we saw the review, the ball just made it across the goal line. But yeah, Cardinals, man, Kyler really blew me away right here, man. I saw 20 on. I'm like, damn. Cardinals, Kyler, damn. But when they were doing that comeback, I'm like, Jesus Christ, what's going on? Because, man, bad Raiders, but,
Hey, it's a great bounce back for the Cardinals, and,
the game really showed it.
It's making it look a real good run for the NFC West.
Yeah.
So, with all that being said, let's go on to Sunday Night Football. That not so much of a rivalry no more.
Yeah.
The
much to say, honestly.
27-10 over the Bears.
Nothing much to say here, Aaron Rodgers doing Aaron Rodgers does best, owning the Bears. Justin Fields' touchdowns were called back, which could have been the turning point of the game, but
you could say turning point, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure the Packers were just going to run away with it anyway.
Aaron Rodgers, come on, he threw up 21 points in the second quarter alone, and then left it from there. But it looked very good bounce back. Aaron Jones, the day I bench him on fantasy, he decides to go off. I hate when this happens, bro.
I feel with Mike Williams now.
I still would have lost, to be honest. I still would have lost anyway, but it still angered me that I benched him and he decides to go up. I benched him for Zeke. Come on now. I don't know, man. It's not it, but, Packers, again, bounce back. I wouldn't be surprised if they go for another 10-win streak, like how they always do. But, again, Justin Fields.
Sure, but... We'll see how
how the Packers are, but again with the Bears, I don't know, man. Justin Fields did not look too well. You know, he had that one good drive, and then I don't know what happened. But still, those touchdowns got called back. It was very, very crucial. But other than that, I mean, could just possibly be Packers division again.
Yeah.
So moving on to our Monday night games. Starting off with the Titans at Bills. Oh, boy. Stephon Diggs.
This one was over before it started.
It was over, man.
You've seen the Titans. I mean, how they got, handled by the Giants. And you see them coming in against probably the best team in football right now, the Bills. You knew we were in for something big, but Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs were absolutely cooking. 317 yards, 4 touchdowns for Allen. The numbers speak for themselves. This was a blowout, and this was just great game by the Bills.
Like I said before, Tannehill is not good, and Derrick Henry cannot produce. Derrick Henry was looking like Todd Gurley after his injury. Like, what was that? I'm telling you, I've been saying this for the longest. Ryan Tannehill is not that guy. He cannot win if Derrick Henry cannot produce. If Derrick Henry cannot produce, it goes with any team. If the team does not have a solid run game, the quarterback's gonna be forced to throw the ball more. There's barely gonna be any momentum going. The run game is what opens up the pass game. Obviously, that's common sense for football. But Derrick Henry can't do anything. Tannehill under pressure. Derrick Henry does not get anything going. Tannehill struggles, and from the looks of it, Titans, I don't think
that's all that really has to be said.
Yeah.
They even end up throwing Malik Willis in for a bit, which that just shows you where they're heading, where their thought process is heading. So this just, you really hope the Titans can bounce back in a way. In their division they're in, anything's possible. So
it really is. It's really wide open.
It's all wide open there.
Anyone can honestly win that division. Maybe Texans. Yeah. That could be really, really weird one.
So moving on to our final game of the week. This was a game that surprised the both of us. The Eagles took down the Vikings 24-7, and Jalen Hurts had a hell of a game with 333 yards, only 1 touchdown, but that touchdown he threw was an absolute bomb, and that it was. I don't know how many yards it was, but it was a deep strike, and
was it good. I don't remember.
It was
It was long though. That's all we got.
I had just turned on the game. Honestly, I'd gotten home from the gym, and I turned on the Monday night game, and just first play I see that massive strike. We talk about him being like Lamar, that he's got that run game going, but when he, as a passer, you don't know about him. If he starts making this consistent, it's something that you obviously is going to be a little worried about as a Cowboy fan, that the Eagles are coming back.
Struggling right now. I'm really, really scared. Darius Slay looked very, very well. How many picks did he get? 2 or 3?
I know he dropped one, so he could have had more.
Yeah, but man, primetime Kirk, what is he, 210 on primetime alone? Did not look very well, man. Justin Jefferson was getting clammed bad by Darius Slay. That connection with Kirk Cousins and Darius Slay is probably the highlight of the game, I still love Kirk to death. He's another player I have a very soft spot for. I still love Kirk a lot. I really feel he can get something done, but this game was just very, very bad. And I have no idea what the Vikings go on from this, other than regroup and relearn, but it's just very, 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 very horrible.
To me, obviously this is going to be just one of those games where you played a good team, and it's going to be somewhat of a struggle, but I see the Vikings regrouping, honestly, and they're still my pick to win the North. They're still gonna have a solid season. This is gonna be one of those games that really helps them regroup in that sense.
Yeah, really, really, really want Kirk to succeed, but yeah, very bad. All right, and that concludes the Week 2 recap. We will now be moving on to the Week 3 preview and our predictions. So to start things off, first game, Pittsburgh at Cleveland. This game, from Week 2, there were some ups and downs, very, very, very confusing games that really, really hornswoggled me. So I'm going to go with Pittsburgh on this game. I don't think Browns are going to pull a trickery this time. I feel like the Browns are going to do what Browns do best, and that's beat ass. I'm going to pick Pittsburgh with this game. Minka Fitzpatrick, the leader of that defense.
I'm going to have to say the same as you. To me, this is just I said this last week, but Honestly, I'll just, move it on to this week since they didn't happen last week. I think Trubisky's gonna, regroup himself. This is, he's a good quarterback overall. Jokes aside, that from everything about him, he's grown a lot, and against a divisional opponent here, I see him having a great performance here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so move right along from that. We got our Sunday slate of games. We got the Texans at the Bears. Two teams that really underwhelmed last week, and I'm gonna say Justin Fields has he's gonna bounce back. Obviously, he played the team he's always gonna struggle with in the Packers, and I think he's gonna have a good game. He's facing a real subpar Texans team here, so I'm gonna have to say Chicago.
I'm gonna go right with you on this one. I'm gonna go Chicago as well. You're playing Houston. It's Houston's pretty self-explanatory. Chicago's gonna come out with this possibly easy W. So I'm gonna stick with Chicago. All right, moving on to the next game, the Raiders at Tennessee. This game, it's really a little difficult to decide here, but if we're gonna be realistically, I'm probably gonna have to go with the Raiders on this one. They've actually probably played a little better in their past games, even though they're 0-2. Other than that choke, first game with the Chargers, they had some hope coming back, but couldn't finish. Against the Cardinals, really, really big choke. Really didn't do anything about that. So they actually played, I would say, significantly tiny bit better than the Titans. Titans really show they're not doing really well. Derrick Henry cannot get anything going. Just shows that Tannehill is not him and cannot do anything if Derrick Henry cannot produce. So this is why I'm going to go with the Raiders this game.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say the same thing as you. It's just, sure, they're both 0-2, but just the strength of their opponents. The Raiders played two great teams in the Chargers and Cardinals, and yeah, the Titans got handled by the Bills, but the glaring fact is how they played against the Giants, which they may be 2-0 right now, but they're 2-0 against two, not so great teams. So, just how it looks right now, I think the Titans are just going to struggle. Derrick Henry's probably going to have another subpar game against Crosby and the rest of the Raiders defense. So I'm going to have to say the Raiders in a pretty handled fashion.
Yep.
So moving right along, got another game that's probably easy to call the way things are looking. We got the Chiefs heading to Indy to play the Colts. And obviously, sure, you'd like to think maybe Matt Ryan can finally get it started. I think Pittman might be back. I'm pretty sure he'll be back to from that injury. But realistically, the Colts just look so awful this year, and I'm gonna have to say Kansas City rolls over them. The Colts just look bad, plain and simple.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and agree with you. Casey's gonna take this dub, no brainer. Indy's just looking very, very horrible. Regardless if Pittman comes back, Matt Ryan just doesn't look well. I low-key thought he would do good in Indy, but from the looks of it, Indy's just gonna do it with another horrible season. So KC, no brainer. So moving right along, we got Buffalo at Miami. This one, I want to say this was probably gonna be a close game. Tua, Waddle, and Tyreek really, really carrying that offense right now. That Miami defense has struggled a bit, but held its own against the Ravens with that comeback. I just don't see them pulling an upset here, so I'm gonna go with Buffalo. I don't think that defense is gonna be able to contain Stephon Diggs, so I'm gonna go Buffalo here.
Yeah, and honestly, you see the way these two look. They're two strong teams. Obviously, 2-0, a 2-0 matchup, but I just think Josh Allen. It's Josh Allen against Tua, obviously, and I'm pretty sure Allen's gonna outduel him. I see this. Honestly, to me, it's either going to be a really close, high-scoring game, or the Bills just absolutely run away with it, and Tua has an iffy game. Just one of those games that the memes are probably going to come back, and people are just going to start talking all about it, even after this comeback that he just had. But regardless of either of those that happen, I'm going to say Buffalo takes this one after a shootout, but they'll handle it.
On Buffalo.
And moving to our next game, we got the Detroit Lions heading to Minneapolis. They'll play the Vikings. And this is, on paper, you can see it as a pretty good matchup. Sure, it's not the nicest quarterback matchup. Jared Goff playing against Kirk Cousins, who Both Cousins just had a pretty bad game, and Goff led his team to a real nice victory this week. So, I mean, they're both teams heading in not really different directions, but I mean, they're coming off separate just looking differently, and I'm regardless of all that, I think the Vikings are going to win, probably a close game, and Kirk might have a little bit of issue with Aiden Hutchinson, who really looked good last week for the Lions defense.
First half looked well. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on this one. I feel like Kirk can bounce back from this game. Another weird bounce back for Kirk. I feel like Jay Jettis can possibly go off against those Detroit corners. So I really want Detroit to win this game, but my gut's telling me I'm gonna go with Minnesota to get this dub. So moving right along, we got Baltimore and New England. This is probably gonna be another good game, but I'm gonna go with Baltimore here. I feel like Lamar could learn from that mistake that happened last week against the Dolphins and get this win against Mac Jones and the Patriots. This Patriots defense, it looks better. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like Lamar will have a bit of struggle there, but I feel like he's gonna move right along and carry out that victory.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you here. I mean, to me, I'm not too high on the Patriots, although I know we don't see eye to eye on that. But still, I mean, sure, it's probably gonna be a well enough game. But yeah, this is the thing about how the Ravens played last week, how they just blew that, absolutely collapsed. I mean, I don't see them even like coming anywhere close to that. I mean, probably Lamar and the rest of that team, they're just really going to regroup here and just play a real sound game. Honestly, I think this is going to be a pretty, not easy, but I'll say a handled victory by the Ravens here. And it's Lamar. He's not going to stay down that long.
Yep, agree with you 100%.
So moving right along, we got two teams that have been struggling recently. The Jets, honestly, a little better, but we got the Bengals at the Jets. And honestly, I see Joe Burrow finally getting his first win of the season here. Sure, Joe Flacco looks great, but I mean, it was in a little comeback against the Browns. I think that fades away after this week. And I mean, something's got to click for the Bengals, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure Zach Taylor, Sean McVay's disciple, he's probably going to draw something of good. Probably let his team get back into it against a subpar Jets team. And I honestly see a really big game for the Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase connection here.
Yeah, I feel like probably get something going today. It'll be very, very disappointing if they do lose to the Jets, but I'm gonna go Bengals here. I feel like Jamar and Joe Burrow could have a very well game, but that O-line, very, very horrendous. I got at least Joe Burrow sacked again at least 5 times that game. It's not looking well, even though the Jets D line isn't that good. But I mean, it's the Bengals O-line. You really don't expect much, so I'm gonna go Bengals, but it's gonna be a very, very challenging game for Joe Burrow if he can't get that ball in time. So moving right along, we got Philly against the Commanders. This is another division matchup. This is very, very crucial since the NFC is getting going again. Once again, it's gonna be very, very competitive. After that game, Jalen Hurts looked very, very well. AJ Brown also he did pretty okay too. Darius Slay looking like Darius Slay should, like how she should. Darius Slay looked very, very well against looked very well against the Vikings. But I'm gonna go Philly. I'm gonna go Philly this game just because I don't think Washington has what it takes right now. Carson Wentz, he did look decent, but from how the Eagles are playing right now, I don't think Washington can come out with this dub. So I'm gonna go Philly.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is just it's probably a pretty good matchup, honestly, because just these NFC East games, and you see one team just like really count it out, but at the end of the day, just these games are always really competitive, and honestly, I'm probably just gonna agree with you and say Eagles because I see Wentz struggling here. I mean, he's playing his old team again. Obviously, he did have a return against them last year, but I think he's probably gonna struggle against his old team, his original team. And I mean, the Commanders, they're not gonna be too bad, just in my mind this year, but I mean, they'll probably struggle here, and I'm gonna go with the Eagles. Just probably another great game by Jalen Hurts. Get the ball to AJ Brown a lot, and just really start to get this Eagles team going after a great win last week, and in my mind, just another week head them to get 3-0, and well, just moving right along from that, we'll have the Saints at the Panthers, another great divisional matchup in NFC South that could possibly be a little interesting. And I mean, you see how Baker's been looking. We both really want to see him succeed, but he hasn't been looking good overall. Yeah. And he's going against a really tough divisional opponent in New Orleans. They got a great defense and just on offense that could really get hot if you give them the chance. So I'm gonna have to say the Saints come away. They go back up to 2-1, and I mean Baker's just gotta wait another week to really find his footing, because it's just I mean the way they're looking, I can't really pick them just in this situation they're in.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to come to a consensus with you again. I'm gonna go New Orleans as well. Like you said right now, like Baker's not it right now, even though as much as how much we want him to succeed, but he's just, his chemistry with that Carolina offense has not been set yet, even with Robbie Anderson still. You know, I think Jabo can bounce back from that Bucs game and do well again. You know, he just, again, gotta contain those picks, man. You gotta be more patient, a little bit more accurate, you know. I see Chris Olave possibly going off this game, maybe Jarvis Landry as well. I would go at least Chris Olave, maybe 70+ yards, touchdown against that Carolina defense, but I'm gonna go Saints. So moving on, we got Jacksonville at the Chargers. So it's pretty much a no-brainer, even though Jacksonville's been doing well, but they are going against an angry and very good Chargers team. You know, Justin Herbert doing well, Mike Williams finally getting involved, Austin Eckler too, you know, proved to be a very good running back. The Los Angeles defense very, very good too. You know, they got some good players right there. Derwin James, you know, Asante Samuel, two good defensive backs. So I'm gonna get Chargers winning this game over Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm gonna have to agree. We're pretty much in agreement the entire week right here. But I mean, yeah, you gotta. I mean, you give props to the Jaguars. I'm sure a 24-0 shutout against a poor Colts team right now. Sure, it looks good, but I mean, like you said, the Chargers, they're coming back angry after a really rough game against the Chiefs, which, I mean, that was a hard-fought game, a great game Thursday night last week. But I mean, the only thing I could say is, I mean, if they can't get Herbert back, that could be the only reason the Jaguars could have some hope here to really pull off that upset. But I'm gonna have to say the Chargers just along with you.
Yep.
And then obviously moving right along, got my big game of the week, our first divisional matchup of the season. Got the Rams in our first road game. Heading to the stadium we hope we can end the season in the desert in Arizona. Well, this is just one of those matchups. For the most part, Sean McVay just really has Cliff Kingsbury's number every matchup, aside from one regular season game last year. He's only lost once to him. And I mean, I just, the main thing, it's something you talk about all the time, something I talk about all the time. Matt Stafford has to contain those interceptions. This Cardinals team, they're not obviously the most well-known for their defense, but they can have a solid defense, I mean, any given Sunday. And this is just something that let's really hope Stafford can contain himself. If he can stop really forcing the ball to Cup, if he can really spread the ball out. I mean, obviously Allen Robinson, he showed he's a great option. Obviously Tyler Higbee, I'm always happy to see him getting into the mix. And even Tutu Atwell and Ben Skowronek, if they can start getting something going, then I mean even better. Even though Skowronek, I mean, I'm really happy that McVay found a spot for him at fullback. I mean, this is probably the last thing I would have expected for him, but he's striving in that. He's thriving in that role, and that's just something that it really makes you happy to see as a fan of this team. And then just that I mean, the same thing. I really hope our running game can get going here, and if all these things click, I mean, I'm expecting a close game. Obviously, it's a divisional matchup. It's Cardinals, who always play us good, but I'm gonna say a Rams win here.
Yep, I'm gonna have to agree with you once again. I don't think we've disagreed so far, but I'm gonna go with Rams here. It's not gonna be. I want to say blowout, but from the way after last game, them showing their true pride and heart, it's gonna be a close game. A couple points, but I'm gonna go Rams out here. Because I know Stafford, if he can't contain those picks, Arizona can possibly capitalize off of that. We know how Kyler Murray is. He does have his ups and downs, struggling a bit, but I feel like he bounced back a bit. But yeah, I'm gonna go Rams this game. It's gonna be a very close game. So again, moving right ahead, we got Atlanta at the Seahawks. This is gonna be another ugly game, but just no brainer. I'm gonna go Seattle. They're the better team here. Marcus Mariota did look okay in the start of last week, but coming back just a little short. But sticking with Seattle, I think Geno Smith can do a little bit here. Tyler Lockett can do Tyler Lockett things. Same with DK. That defense, they lost Jamal Adams, I think it was season-ending injury. But yeah, it's gonna be an ugly game. I'm not going to say a high-score game, so, Atlanta's not looking too well for them, so I'm going to go Seahawks.
Honestly, I mean, this is probably going to be our first disagreement of the week, but I'm going to have to say the Falcons. It's going to be a close game, and they're both two struggling teams, and this is why it's easier for me to make this call. I think the Falcons, after this great this little comeback they took, they're riding high, not too high obviously because they didn't get the win, but it's something to build on, and to me I really think that they have something to work with this week, and I think that Falcons defense can maybe give Geno some struggles, and obviously like you said, it'll probably be low scoring, maybe like 17-14 type game, but I think the Falcons can come out on top here. Probably Cordell Patterson, if he's finally getting used in the right way, and we got Kyle Pitts, who everyone's really been hoping to see him getting utilized more. I think he'll have a nice game this week. Mariota can, if he can find him in the right ways. Maybe Drake London too. He had a nice second half against the Rams.
USC receiver, baby.
Absolutely. So if all these pieces go, because the Falcons have great pieces, it's just if they're in sync.
I don't know how to utilize them. That coaching's horrible. I don't know what's going on.
If they're in sync, I see a win for the Falcons here. And moving on, we got the game of the week here, the one everyone's interested in, a rematch of the NFC Championship 2 years ago. We got the Packers heading into Tampa Bay, and this is a really close matchup. I'm honestly still considering my options here myself. In the end, I'm not gonna go against Brady here. I'm probably just gonna take the Bucs. This is probably another one of those games where against a really tough Bucs defense, the inexperience of the Packers receiving core is probably gonna struggle here. I mean, Rodgers is gonna just hit them with dimes, obviously, but it just comes down to how good they run their routes, how good their hands are, and just that great Bucs defense. I think they're gonna bully the Packers receivers and just do just enough to win. It'll be a close game, absolutely, but it's got to be a Bucs win for me. Yep,
I'm gonna agree with you down here. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have that chemistry with his receivers. That Allen Lazard, I don't consider him a bad receiver, but I don't think he has that connection he had with Devontae Adams yet. They will hopefully soon in the season, but as of right now, Tampa's defense looking very, very well. Carlton Davis, they're like Antoine Winfield Jr., those are the leaders in the Bucs defense. They're gonna go federal against those Packers receivers. So I don't see Aaron Rodgers. It could possibly be a really, really close game, but it's Tom Brady. And I'm gonna go with the Bucs on this one. So moving right along to our final game, closing it off with Sunday night. San Francisco, Jimmy G's first official start this season against the Broncos. This one should be a no-brainer, Broncos, I mean, we've already seen they've been struggling a bit once again. Russell Wilson does not look good anymore. You know, it's pretty much past his prime at this point. This is the game where Jimmy G, I'm not gonna say yet because it's the Broncos, but it's the as the eye opener for Kyle Shanahan that Jimmy G does well this game against the Broncos. And I'm gonna go with the Niners at this win. As much as I hate the Niners, but I'm gonna go with them beating the Broncos. It's pretty much a no-brainer here. Broncos struggling. I don't see anything. I don't see anything going by them as of right now. So sticking with San Francisco.
Yeah. Honestly, it's just another agreement between us here for this game. It's just Russell Wilson's really struggling, and against two teams that are they're nothing special who he's played with so far. So it's just you go against a really elite defense in San Francisco. He's gonna struggle. He plays the Seahawks. I mean, he plays the Niners a lot. Just being from the Seahawks, obviously all these years, and he usually does good, yes, but like you're saying, he's past his prime. He clearly doesn't have that same fire in him as he used to back in Seattle, and I just think, just all the Niners players rallying behind Jimmy G. As a Rams fan, I hate to see them keep pace with us, but I'm gonna have to say the Niners have a really solid game here, and they're gonna bounce back to 2-1 here. So moving on to the final game, the Monday nighter, we got your Cowboys taking on the New York Giants.
Oh, you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead. It's your team.
I gotta go with my boys here. You know, that defense looked very, very well. You know, Cooper Rush. You know, I'm not gonna say he proved himself yet because he did play a dysfunctional Bengals team so far in the beginning of the season. But this is gonna be the game where the Giants actually play a somewhat competent opponent so far. You know how our defense is. Trayvon Diggs looking very, very better. Very better. What the hell? Looking much better right now, you know, in coverage. Micah Parsons almost leading every single stat right now in sacks, pressures, quarterback hits. You know, he's looking very well. That defense looking well. We do have Jaron Kearse still out. Michael Gallup could possibly return back this game. I would want to say I want to give him another week just to heal, just to be good. But, you know, I feel like once Gallup comes back, get that connection with Cooper Rush ASAP, and Gallup is our deep threat, and he can get open very, very well. But, you know, Noah Brown, I want to see some good stuff from him. Dalton Schultz, I think he's out for 2 weeks with an injury. Get that run game going against the Giants, and we can contain Saquon Barkley early. We can catch up with this win. You know, we do have a thing with beating the Giants so far, and I feel like this will be an eye-opener for the Giants once they play us. Knowing that once they play a somewhat good team that are gonna have to step up their game. You know, I gotta go with my boys here, being confident now.
Honestly, there's a lot to think about in this game, and just, like you said, the Cowboys always play the Giants great, and to me, it's just, I'm honestly torn here, and sorry to say this, we probably have one more disagreement in us. I think this is gonna be. I think the Giants are gonna get the better here, but it's just between a couple things, obviously. With the Cooper Rush, sure, he had a let's call it an average game last week against,
that's what I'm saying,
against the Bengals, and it's just, to me, if Dak was playing, I'd say the Cowboys easily, and if Saquon didn't have this resurgence that he's been having, I'd also easily say your Cowboys. But just if Saquon gets this going, Brian Dable's. Whatever he's doing at the Giants, although it's not against high quality opponents, it's still, it's results, and you know, winning helps chemistry, and the way they're going, the whole city of New York rallying behind them. I'm thinking it's the Giants might be another team to look good in this division, and I'm gonna go with them, depending on how Daniel Jones looks. That's the main thing. But give some disagreements into this week, and I'll go with the Giants.
Yeah,
which
that hurts me.
Sorry to hurt you, but yeah, that's how we're gonna wrap up this recap of our this preview of our Week 3 matchups. I guess anything you'd like to say here? No,
that's pretty much it. You know, got the recap done. You how we usually do it, got the preview up, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That concludes episode 4 of the Beans No Ball podcast.